We did. Yes. So, yeah, Maxine Dennis, several of the family members, Maxine Dennis, we just lost her a week ago, and we buried her on Saturday. But they have a huge family at this church and this community. Everyone here is just very, very involved, and so we thank you all for coming, and excited about seeing the play on Friday. Excited about that. And Mayor, how are you doing? Good to see you. And he was here when we had the dedication. When we had our marker. The mayor was here, and really thanks to the late Dr. Patricia Hilliard-Nunn. We miss her so much. She made a huge impact. Oh, hi there. How are you doing? I didn't see you. She's also a huge inspiration to all of us, and she helped us out a lot here. So we're really excited. Well, who are the actors? Oh, you're interested. Good looking ones in this group.
Okay, cool. Hey, everybody. My name is Ryan Hope Travis. I am the director, co-writer, and co-producer of the play Newberry. Can I get the performers and the other producers to introduce themselves? Because really, it's a team of people. I happen to have the title director, but it's really an ensemble. So let me get everybody kind of introduce yourselves as well.
Hello everyone, my name is Ryan George. I'm also a co-producer, actor in the show, and co-writer as well.
I'm Kayla Schultz. I am the student dramaturg for the show.
Hi, I'm Sabrina Blakeney. I'm an actor in the show. And I'm so blessed to be with y'all. I just want to put that out there. So thank you for having us.
And co-writer.
And co-writers.
My name is Jeremy Fuentes. I'm also an actor in this show, also co-writer.
I'm Sherry Thompson, actor in the show and co-writer.
Stephen Ruffin, both of those things.
And hello, my name is Bakari Garvin. I'm an actor and co-writer in the piece also.
And casting assistant. And Stan holding the camera.
Oh yes, I am E. Stanley Richardson. I'm a co-producer and actor and a co-writer in the show also.
So and we have 3 more ensemble members who are in transit. So it's a total of 10 performers in the show, and in total 10 alumni from the University of Florida, 3 current students, and I think it's about 20, 25 of us as both production side and actors. So it's a team of people. So we're only representing a fraction of it, but we couldn't be more excited to be here with you all.
Could I, before we continue chit-chatting and before we lose the light, might I get all of the actors and directors and producers to maybe move just sort of surreptitiously in front of this marker, so maybe we should get some pictures of you guys here on this round.
Wow.
You can stand on it. You had that white stuff on your card, right?
We can get a picture.
Sorority squad.
He's just gonna live it from there too. Straight ahead.
I can't stay down here long.
Same.
Oh!
You gotta stay.
See, I got to stay. I got you.
I can't stay.
And Dr. Free, if you
See, I need to try it because my knees ain't got it like I used to. Okay.
Coming to the graveside is because we have several family members and people that were involved in the lynching who are buried here. We have, come on up, Patty. Patty and I and several other people spent several weekends out here. We would bring our lunch and spend the day. And we met this graveyard for the church. And so now we're going to go down on the end where we have several of the people who were lynched that are buried out here. Also, you can go online and pull the names up. Just type in the word lynch, and it'll bring up each one of those that were lynched in this general area with their names, and then it has a picture of their monument there for you to view. So we're going to walk down in this direction, if you don't mind, and we're going to put flowers on each grave. All right?
That's where all his brothers and sisters graduated, and most of them graduated. A lot of my first cousins
What's the name of this graveyard?
Pleasant Plains.
Pleasant Plains.
I'm not looking for wealth. I'm looking for, it is, there are 6 people. And they're on this back wall and back in this room.
Oh yeah. In a few moments of the play, I play Reverend J.J. Baskins. So yeah, I do just a little bit.
I caught that.
Oh yes, I'm a grad student. It's my last year as a student. This is my thesis role. Yeah, sure.
And as soon as we get here, she's going to read it again so we can know this is Baskins, Josh Baskins. He's playing this part in the movie, in the play. Okay, Josh.
Are you playing?
Yeah, I play a few moments. I play Reverend J.J. Baskins.
Oh, okay. I'm Janice Owens. I wrote.
She wrote the book.
Yeah, and I love that his children put on.
Man, you know I just recognized
you.
you. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
When they, and they put this up in 1916.
And if you look at it online, you can see it was much clearer than this. They need cleaning out here. So, okay, and then there's one over here. That's J.J. Baskins and Should I stick it in the ground? Okay, who's playing this character? This is,
okay.
oh, okay. Why don't you come up and get a picture here with the tombstone? And the pictures that the flowers that we have here were put here by the Jewish culture, and under that they have some rocks. I'm standing on the man's grave, but anyway, there are 3 or 4 rocks that I can't even prove. Here's one. These were put here. In the Jewish culture, they do this because it says it's always a remembrance of them. And so we came out here and we put flowers and we put the rocks to each one of the graves. And I'll stick this one back. Okay. Come on, let's get a picture with you and whoever's doing the filming. So this is, again, Andrew. I can't even see it myself.
Yeah, Andrew McHenry.
Yeah, I can't. It was 1888 to 1916. I can see that, but I can't read it. Okay, can you read it? No, but don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Like I said, when you go back and you look at the pictures, just type in the words Lynch, and it will bring up all of these names that you see now. Okay, so everybody got the picture here? We're going to the next one. James Dennis.
Are they buried together?
Have you seen her picture? Miss Julia has her picture.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I see that one online. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
I
yes,
love
yes.
Okay, now which one is it?
This is James Dennis.
James is right here. It says it's tombstone.
He was the
Oh,
first
yeah,
man
yeah.
who was shot.
He was the first.
And you're James.
Yes.
That's Minister Miles' mother?
Yes, that was her mother, and this is her dad.
And this was
Yeah,
the
one of the
father.
co-producers, and
And
I'm
Minister
in it for a
Myers,
little bit. Yes.
their daughter lived 100 until 102 years old.
Oh, yeah, she just
And
passed
she just
away.
passed
She
away.
just passed away.
It's been 6 months.
Yeah, this has been that long. Okay. Linda.
Yes.
Is that her
Yes.
over there?
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Is that her or Maxine Deal? Which one? That Maxine. Oh, that one's Maxine. This is her daughter.
And here is one of the rocks from the Jewish culture.
That's Maxine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, now, let's see. We've got 3 done. We got McHenry, the Dennises. There were 2 stones there for the Dennises.
Maria and
Where's the
They're
Dennis?
not marked.
Oh,
I
they
don't
weren't
believe
marked,
so.
but there was
Their families are around
Yeah,
here,
they
but
were
their
in
graves
this
are not
area. There were
marked.
two stones that were marked for the Dennis family. But I don't see them. Okay.
Dr. Dupree, are the Youngs related to Stella?
Stella Young, yes.
Yes,
Yes,
they are.
they
They're
are.
her family. We send.
so these are her family members are here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Reverend Young was her father.
Her father.
But they were all connected.
This is Della, isn't it?
This is but that isn't Stella Young.
No,
This
that's
is,
not
yeah,
Stella.
That is Stella.
Is Stella
This is
her mother?
Reverend.
Is that her mother? Stella's mother?
Stella's mother. Well, this is her father. He was a preacher too.
He was a minister.
Yeah, he was a minister too.
Yeah, he sure
We
was.
don't know who Della Young is, though?
She's related, but she's not Stella.
She
Young.
was not Stella.
She's,
She was related to the Young family. We have an extra flower. Can we stick one on?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll put it in.
William Young.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
This guy. This guy. Got that. All right. And there was one that we did somewhat. Oh, you stuck it in the ground. I know there was one I laid down and didn't stick it in the ground. So all of them are stuck in the ground that we put out here. Okay. All right. So again, you have the Dennis family, like I said, there were 2 Dennises that were buried out here. And we don't have any markers for them there, but there were little squares that they had for the Dennis family. The Young family, you have a few of them buried out here. We passed Josh Baskins. Everybody remembers him fairly well. And some of the other family members that were close to them were buried. This is the first part of the cemetery. I want to say to you, with the first part, they should have a fence still up here. And this was the first backing part of the cemetery. As time went on, it started spreading in this direction, and then later it went up towards the church. But in the beginning, it went across, and then over on that side, most of them are families. And then with the families, they had it set into a circle or to a square to represent the family members. So down on that end, but this is the early end, and this is where we spent a lot of time trying to make sure we were able to document these people. Any questions that you'd like to ask?
There are a lot of unmarked graves too.
Yes.
A lot.
And
yeah.
the one that bothers me is Sister Perkins.
Yeah.
Because she's out here, her husband is out here. And I don't know where his grave is right at the moment. But there was a marking for his grave, and we do have his listed on the listing. But we don't have one for Rebecca. And we figured she was right next to him in that general area. So we do have some work to do. And what they usually do is bring a unit that they poke in the ground, and it lets them know if there's a grave there. And I believe there were 2 graves over there near Perkins. So it was him and I think the daughter that passed away. And so we could pretty much say where those graves are, but we haven't had anybody to come lately to help us do that.
Sherry, is there any chance that Rebecca Perkins could have been cremated?
No, they said she was buried out here.
Okay.
And we found her death certificate. She died in the 30s. And she was living in Gainesville. And she was living in Arredondo Street in Gainesville. She died in the 30s. And she was around 100 or so years old. So she lived a long, long, good life. But her daughter was buried out here first. The daughter died, she got sick, she died in the 50s. So she's out here. So we said one was Rebecca and one was her daughter, between her husband there.
Gotcha.
Any other questions or concerns? Yes.
Ms. Janice, can you just tell everybody a little bit about the history of this area? What happened here?
Yes.
Where are we standing? Where are we in relation to Dudley Farm, which is going to be our next stop? And some of that story that you were able to tell Dr. Travis when we came out.
Well, this is the spiritual home, I would think, when you think Pleasant Plain is. And it was built in Reconstruction by freedmen and by people that came here and farmed. And Jonesville, up into the 1940s, was predominantly black, and it was a strong black community. There was a school here that was close to the grounds, the Jonesville Black School, that I hear about, I hear described, but I don't know where it's at yet, but that'll come. But this is the area that were, the Crisis, which is the NAACP's magazine in 1916, described it as prosperous, and anybody you know that grew up here tells you that. Well, if a lot of people here, if this road continued the way it used to, it would come to the road we're about to go to at Becky Perkins' property, which was next door to the former plantation, Dudley Plantation. And this community here, a lot of people, different people had worked for the Dudleys. We're tracing, Miss Sherry, and a lot of us are right now tracing the family trees of the enslaved workers there, because it's been pretty much ignored. I mean, except for Miss Sherry's work. Yeah, so we're doing that right now. But in 1916, these farmers around here, when we get to Dudley, it's not very far, it's only a couple of miles, they had feral hogs, you know, they used to call them piney rooters. They were just these little feral hogs. But then after the phosphate ran out, people began raising hogs, and they were more valuable. And so there was a kind of a, you know, they would clip their ears and brand them, but there was always constant fights about whose hogs were who. And the Dudleys began to think that a family, the Dennis family, some families here, they accused them of hog theft. And that was the accusation made after the shooting. However, we know that there was a family quarrel between the Dudleys, and Fanny Dudley's brother was the constable of Newberry, a man named Sam George Wynn. And he was this was a tough area because of the train came through, and there were phosphate mines that were worked by convicts all around here. So Newberry was, he had a reputation as being tough, but he came home from Gainesville, got on the train. He had arrested a man in Gainesville named Mills Dennis, and according to what I can see in every record, he stopped by Bosie Long's house, who was James Dennis and Mills Dennis' first cousin, and they'd been raised by his mother. He was raised in the same household. So he stopped, and Bosie Long said at trial, until the day he was hung, that he said that George Wynn, who grew up across the street from him, they knew each other. He was born on the Jones plantation. They knew each other. He came up to the door, told him to get dressed, and Bosie Long said he didn't show a warrant for his arrest, just told him to get dressed. And he didn't have a warrant, and so in that house between the pharmacist who had gone with George Wynn, Bosie Long, they had different who pulled the gun first, but there was a shootout, and George Wynn got killed, was shot, and so was the pharmacist, but he survived. Would never speak of it again after the trial. I've talked to his granddaughter. But Bosie Long ran, got away, was wounded, and so the friends of George Wynn, who were some of the most well-known men in this district, went on a posse to find Bosie Long, and in the meanwhile, some men from Gainesville in cars came out and terrorized the area around here. Like Mr. Lyman Long, who lived in the house right over there, talked about being a little boy when they came up on horses. But the people who terrorized him found Mr. James Dennis was outside of his house, and he had nothing. He was out, and according to oral history, they kidnapped him. They got him in the car. The white men, who were just furious, they just wanted to revenge, because by then George Wynn had died, and they took him and had him go out to open a gate. And when he was out opening the gate, they shot him with a shotgun, and his children who were around could hear it, and his wife, Miss Julia Dennis, whose picture's there, she heard the gunshot, knew that they'd shot him, and then one of them went over and turned him and shot him in the face. And in the newspaper, they said he was escaping, and that's how he got shot. But Miss Julia was so infuriated when she read in the newspaper that they said he was escaped, that she would never read another newspaper again. And so she lived here and raised the orphans. But anyway, they also arrested, everybody was connected. Mr. Burt Dennis was living in Archer, working as in the lumber mill. He came to town to get his brother a coffin, and they caught him on the road and took him to jail, to the Newberry jail. They took Mary Dennis and they took Stella Young. Mary Dennis was sister-in-law. They just went to the house and arrested them, and they took them hostage. One of them was pregnant, one of them had a babe in arms. And the babe in arms is buried right over there, Mr. Murray, who I knew before he died. He worked at the John Deere dealership. He was a mechanic. But he was at the jail, in his mother's arms. So there were two women, a pregnant woman with a baby. In some accounts, they say there was even a younger child of Bosie Long, but they held them captive. They brutalized the women. There's no telling. We know they beat them. We don't know. There are stories that Maria Dennis, later in the paper, they said they let her go. But the stories are, I can never find her on the census afterwards. She may have changed her name. We don't know. But anyway, she's no longer here. So the women were brutalized at 2 o'clock in the morning. In the meanwhile, Bosie Long goes to see the Squire Long, who lives about 3 miles from here. He goes to his house once, according to and Squire Long was related to him. In the paper they said there weren't, but around here he was an uncle. He goes, he's wounded, and they said, they've got your wife, they've got your sister, they got your whole family there. And so at 2 o'clock in the morning, which was 12 hours after George Wynn was shot, they took him to Lynch Hammock, right where we were at, and they a crowd of 200 men, some of them deputy sheriff, a senator, sheriff, they lynched them from different trees, you know, put them on the horse, hit them, lynched them, and left guards there for them to hang because they were meant to terrorize the community and to draw out Bosie Long. And their message to Bosie Long is, we're going to kill everybody you're related
Was
to.
any of these people in the mob affiliated with the Klan or anything like that?
Well, we assume they all were earlier. Right now was right on the edge of when the Klan blew back up here in Rosewood and everything. But this was in 1960, before World War. So yeah, a lot of these people connected. This fathers had fought for the Confederacy, and we assumed that they were related to the Klan. There are Klan-related documents at Dudley. I know that. So so they hung them, left their bodies to hang for the people in town to come see. So like thousands of people came from all around to see these bodies hanging there. And Bosie Long goes back, and we believe, I really believe that Squire Long, his uncle, said, you can turn yourself in or they're going to keep. I mean, they had demonstrated they'd kill women, they had no bars. So he went to and turned himself into Sheriff Ramsey. And after that, everything got very legal by the book, you know. Then they took him away to Jacksonville because they were afraid he'd be lynched, him and Mills Dennis in Gainesville. So he went to Jacksonville, and after the bodies hung till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and an older lady who was a first source witness said they pushed the bodies back and forth like swings, you know, everybody went, you know, and it was just pretty. So the bodies hung there, they cut them down, and there was a road that